Well, it's farcical, isn't it? It really is. Look, the council really need to do one of two things. They either need to defend the decision to fence this huge expanse of playing fields as an argument for it, definitely an argument for it, because the school can make use of this land. They can have big sporting events on it, and they can do all sorts of things to it. So there's definitely a case for it. Or ditch it, or keep it as it is. There was a compromise on the table where the school would fence a much smaller area of land. That's something that I was involved with back in 2019. They don't need to go and fence the whole area, but they either need to defend it or they need to ditch it. But what they really need to do is to own it. Stop blaming everybody else. At first, they said it was the government's fault. It was ludicrously, it's the decision by the Secretary of State. I proved that wrong, no least at Prime Minister's questions. Now they backtracked and said, well, it's the school's fault because we've got a lease. Now, what John Howard said to you yesterday was at best misleading and at worst an outright lie, because they have not leased the land to the school. There's no lease in place. There's something called a tenancy at will, which is a temporary measure, but that can be ended at any point by a simple verbal notice. What they need to do now is to put conditions in the lease that the school fence only a smaller proportion of the land for day-to-day use, leaving the rest of it open for public use. If they don't agree with that and they want to fence the whole thing off, then go out and defend it. Because thousands of people have contacted me. I've done a survey about this across Werrington. I've had 1,000 responses, and overwhelmingly people want the open space. I mean, you can understand that. That's perfectly reasonable, and that's why I think a compromise position needs to be achieved. This new independent Peterborough First administration are now in power. Councillors in Werrington represent Peterborough First. It's now time for them to make a decision, because politics is about difficult choices. And this is a difficult choice. So either defend it or work with me, the school, and local people, and let's resurrect that compromise. They can do this because they have not yet issued a lease.